Good day, fellow geeks. This week on Geeks of Azeroth, we have a release date for the release date. We have new facial models, and Tom is going to give us a big quiz for some reason, and more on this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth. Hello, and welcome to the show. Let's start off by doing some introductions. My name is Tarley. Yeah, that's all you need to know about me. Let's go over to my right over here. We've got Jake over in Oregon, Jake.
California,
Jake. Okay, California, Jake.
One of them.
How's Jake doing today?
I'm doing rather well.
Anything exciting going on in your week in World of Warcraft? Past 2 weeks, actually, since we've done it.
Past 2 weeks, I spent some time in LFR, still working on the Legendary Quest, still working on Secrets of the Empire, but I am getting close, and that was mainly last week. I haven't spent too much time in game this week, but I've also been working on just trying to get all of the treasure chests on the Timeless Isle. I just got an add-on, and I've been going around just getting all of them. Just kind of dinking around.
And over here on the far side of the screen, we've got Tom from England. Hi, Tom.
Hello. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself? How's been your 2 weeks?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm in between jobs at the moment, so before I move to the wonderful city of Leeds to start my new job, I'm off work, so I haven't actually. I've actually had a lot of free time. So I could get into all the details, but pretty much the same story as Jake. Unfortunately, it's just working my way through that quest. It seems that all the parts that I need to get and collect things are timed for me outside Gaze of the Black Prince. So it's. But hey, we've got another Valor weekend for what it's worth. So
I'm sure Gaze will be back.
It's gonna be.
I myself.
What about yourself?
I haven't spent too much time in WoW lately. I've been busy working myself, but in the meantime, when I have hopped on, I have been working on yet another legendary cloak. This time on my hunter.
You're responsible for all the legendaries so far.
Well, I've got a healing one, I've got a tank one, and a melee DPS one. Figured I'd get a ranged one, so.
And neither of us can get one at all.
If me and Jake work together, we might be able to get one between us.
We'll just tear it in half and share.
That's it. You get it on weekdays, I get it on weekends.
All right.
But aside from running LFRs, I've spent the majority of my time PvPing because this late into an expansion, it's kind of all there is to do. But that's fun. PvP is always fun. I had never realized until this point that if you get enough conquest, you can start buying the conquest gear with honor.
Really?
So I fully geared up my my monk, and then now I can buy the gear with honor. So now I can have 2 sets of PvP gear really quickly. It's pretty interesting, pretty fun.
This is horrible to listen to. You literally completed the game. There's nothing else for you to do now.
Exactly. Game over.
Game over.
Didn't think that was possible in World of Warcraft. But let's move on to our first topic here. We have a release date, everyone. We have the release date for the Warlords of Draenor release date event.
Yeah.
Cannot
Blizzard
wait.
has released a save the date. I'll pull it up on the screen here. We're invited on Tuesday, August 14th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for the reveal of the cinematic and the street date. I don't know what I'm more excited about, finding out when the actual release date is or seeing the cinematic. We have this nice picture of, I assume this is Grommash right here, and he's so detailed. I'm expecting him to be starring in the cinematic, hopefully just beating up Garrosh the entire time, and that's the cinematic.
That's it. I I, just father-son lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm more excited for. I think people need this release date.
Yeah.
Really,
Yes.
we need it. So I think even if it was just a release date, that would be enough. The fact the cinematic's coming out is obviously expected, but I think obviously the first thing people want to hear is a date. And the cinematic is just the sort of massive cherries on the cake, really.
Yeah. We have a list here of previous release dates of the past expansions, and it's kind of hard to narrow down based on these when exactly we'll see Warlords, because Burning Crusade came out in January 16th of 2007, and then Wrath of the Lich King November 13th of 2008, and then we had Cataclysm in December again of 2010, and then Mists of Pandaria in September. There's hasn't been a real consistency there on the months of their release date, but there's kind of a consistency with how long in between expansions we've seen. It's been a steady 2 years usually, give or take a couple months. So what do you?
Yeah.
We've pretty much made different predictions every time we do an episode, but given what we have learned now, what would you guys say? Jake, what do you think?
If they're getting ready to announce the release date, I wish this list also had when they announced what the official release date was.
Yes.
So we could see,
yeah.
like, how far ahead do they actually announce the real date?
Well, with Mists of Pandaria, that was announced at Gamescom of 2012, the release date, which then it came out September 25th.
Okay, so not too long after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm thinking if they're announcing the release date now, in early October
Early October?
is what I'm thinking and hoping.
Yeah, what about you, Tom?
Well, I think early October. I think first week of October is probably more likely. I would have said the end of September, but they Blizzard are going to be at PAX, and they have a display. They've got obviously they're going to be showing off Warlords at the end of August when PAX is, and then going into September. So I doubt they'll release it 4 weeks after that. I think they'll just push it for a little bit towards the beginning of a month.
Well, I'm looking exactly at the calendar here, and I could definitely see either Tuesday, September 30th, or Tuesday, October 7th. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be in that release window. I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be right around that time. And it would be cool with PAX being at the end of August. They could, announce, all right, here's patch 6.0. Like they've had their history of doing that a month before the release date.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they also have a thing about releases on Thursdays?
Well, has it been?
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right. They don't release on Tuesdays. They do release on Thursdays. You're right.
I think maybe in that case you could be Thursday the 9th of October, or Thursday the 2nd, maybe something like that. Because I always
they know everyone's going to take off the Thursday, Friday, and then have the weekend off to
have the weekend to play it
to get to level 100.
That's the middle of my work week. Is Thursday through weekend.
I really just need this release date so I can request the time off work.
You're like, I'm ready.
I bet a lot of companies are seeing that coming, to be honest. When all their employees take the same weekend off for a non-disclosed reason.
Well,
So the companies are trying to get in first and put out, this is a no request window.
Especially Blizzard.
Why are all our employees taking the weekend off?
On the launch of an expansion, that would be great if just all of Blizzard goes to play it instead.
No tech support at all.
So we've had a lot of news, though. Aside from this, Gamescom announcement, we've had a lot of news come out of the last 2 weeks, which is another reason, to kind of suspect, hey, they're really kind of pushing forward with their release, because we've seen new facial models, we've seen a lot of new zone previews. Like, I think almost every zone is out now. Am I wrong about that? Every zone has been released on the beta. That is going to launch, at least with the expansion.
Yes. Well, I think, the Spires of Arak is the last one. I think so, yeah.
'Cause I know they delayed one of the zones to, 6-1 or whatever.
The second half of Tanaan Jungle, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's jump right in. We get to look at these new facial models. So aside from the whole character models, all the facial things about the new character models are being reworked, more customizable from what I can tell. They're going to be really beautiful if you look at these pictures here. Just look at this comparison between this human female and then the new one. Just phenomenal. Hugely.
Looks quite creepy.
The old
I'm
one.
quite scared. Yeah, she's not too happy.
And you can definitely see with the wireframe here of the character faces, there's so many more polygons built into the faces, which is a big deal, especially when you never really get. A lot of people don't get that close to their characters, but the fact that Blizzard is putting in the effort to put that in there, make it so detailed that all these facial expressions and facial customization is going to be a possibility. You're not going to have these standard, just wrinkly, smooth skin, whatever that the old ones were.
Yeah, the emotes are going to be more expressive. It's going to be awesome for Machinima.
Yes, that's something I'm really excited for, is to see the Machinima going forward. As long as WoW Model Viewer works with the new character models, of course.
Which I'm sure it will. I mean, it might take just a little bit, but...
Yeah, but that's definitely looking good. I don't know, I mean... I don't really think this is unexpected, though, this piece of news coming out anyway. I kind of just assumed this would be a part of the whole character redo of sorts.
Yeah, once they described it, though, it started to make more sense, because the old faces were just literally painted on. Mm-hmm. And now these ones, they get the base texture on, but then they still have to adjust, like, eyebrow placement and lip placement, because they're actual models now, not just painted on. Mm-hmm. Which is, everyone was complaining, the faces look the same, or they were bringing it up, I should say, because they did. And it was just because they didn't have the adjusted articulation points for each face to make them look different from each other.
Also, I think Blizzard now is under more pressure than ever to justify why it's taking so long to get Warlords out. So they are really going into the nitty-gritty details and saying, this is what, even these things that, we just clarified in a sentence before, look how much work has had to go into this one aspect that, let's be honest, not a lot of people are going to notice in the same way. There was an article on WoW Insider about how often you really look at your character's face during sort of progression. So, to be honest, I think people are going to be a bit shocked after all these announcements are finally done once we get to Warlords by just how much work has been done.
Yeah, I mean, even just seeing the beta footage and watching people run around on the new character models, because, again, Blizzard, we don't have beta keys.
What the heck?
Getting to watch people, you can definitely just see the difference when they're playing. It looks so much smoother. But speaking of character models, there's been a lot of rage lately because of a certain announcement of a certain race that will not be coming with the launch of Warlords. And this is the race that I think 6 out of my 9 90s are, and that is Blood Elves.
I actually think that announcement of them not being out is an even better indicator of how soon release might be coming, is because they're starting to say, okay,
we know what we can't fit in this timeline.
Exactly.
So, and really, you have to think, this is, like they said this on Convert to Raid as well, this is one of the only promises that Blizzard is keeping from BlizzCon, that they won't be able to get all the races in by launch. So, but unfortunately, it's just Blood Elves.
I'm still waiting for the free Control art craft. They're like, we'll show faces.
But they did say the art craft for Trolls is coming very soon.
Yeah, they said it would either be last week or this week or next week, pretty much.
Yeah, so they might not want it to get in the way of their announcement at Gamescom this week, since pretty much all of them will be over in Germany this week. But
so probably the week after.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But I'm definitely excited. I do have a couple Troll characters, so I would like to see that.
Too. A couple.
Do you play Troll, Jake?
Zul, do you play? Do you play Zul? But yeah, there's been a lot of rage over it, and it's understandable. A lot of people are attached to their Blood Elves, but don't get too upset about it, because this means that Blizzard isn't going to rush it. They're going to put the quality that all the other ones get into making a good-looking Blood Elf.
Yeah, I'm just going to taunt my guild My guild, almost all of them play Blood Elves, and I'm just gonna run in circles around them with my new trolls.
Well, we have yet
like
to see
suckers.
we have yet to see the male night elf as well. Do you think
They-
that could be delayed?
There's been like a couple like screenshots of the
Oh,
kind of updated from beta,
yeah,
but it's not anywhere near as complete as the other ones.
yeah. I'm sure we'll probably see that one though. If they have the female night elf, they'll probably get the male one in as
Yeah.
well.
It's got to be coming soon.
So, released this week, Blizzard announced, or Activision Blizzard announced their quarterly earnings, and we saw, what was it, an 800,000 drop in subscribers in the last quarter?
Yep, 800,000.
800,000. We are now at 6.8 million. We haven't seen that low of subscriber numbers since the end of Classic.
Yeah, since it passed that going up.
Yeah, yes, and it was going upwards. Now we're going down. And of course, this is because we have been in the same content for a year. And it is to be expected. We saw a big loss at the end of Cataclysm. Well, kind of in the middle of Cataclysm, really. And it shot back up a bit from Mists of Pandaria, and it's kind of gone downhill since then. People are saying it's the end of WoW. Oh my god. I don't think this is the case.
As they say every week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that does bring an interesting thought to mind. WoW will die sometime, and that makes me sad. WoW is going to die one day, guys.
No.
On a serious note, though, it's a little bit more indicative than Mike Morheim suggested. He said about how, in a way, you can ignore this because this is a pattern that has been going on pretty much since every WoW expansion. But I don't think Warlords has got a climb to make. I'm not saying they're going to be able to bring back every subscriber or that they should aim for that, but I think it's certainly a little bit more worrying than a standard cycle. To be honest,
What's interesting though is their revenue is up. They're losing subscribers, but the revenue is up. With the introduction in the past year of the in-game shop, increasing the amounts of mounts that they put on that shop, and now pre-orders for Warlords, and they have 1.2 million pre-orders so far for Warlords, or 1.5 million. 1.5 million, and for any game, 1.5 million pre-orders is a good number. And so, of course, they know they're gonna get revenue from Warlords of Draenor, and we've said if a MMO game makes 500,000 subscribers, they're successful. So
Yeah.
with Blizzard getting that many pre-orders already, and then expected to get a lot more at launch.
A game selling 1 million copies, period, is successful, and they've already, before it even has an announcement of the release date, has already sold more than that.
Yeah.
And so, there's going to be a lot of people that pick it up that week that didn't pre-order as well. I mean, it's going to be huge numbers.
Just think of it this way: there are probably the same amount of people who play World of Warcraft that own an Xbox One right now. Same numbers.
is that an insult or
Maybe an insult to
Compliment,
Microsoft,
which-
a compliment to WoW.
But it's I was going to say, what do you guys think about? Basically, we just said how the revenue goes up. 73 or 72% of Blizzard's revenue comes from those sort of in-game items, those online sales. So, do you not think that losing 800,000 players who aren't going to potentially buy that stuff, surely that's... I just can't shake the feeling that that's just something you can't really just go, okay, well, we'll try and get a few of them back in the next few months. It seems like you'd hit the panic button then.
Well, again, Blizzard. I don't think Blizzard has to worry about money right now at all. Activision Blizzard is a very, very successful company. They own Call of Duty as well as all of the Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, and then soon to be Destiny. So I really don't think Activision is worried about it on the money side. And then, like we said, 6.8 million subscribers is not low at all, really, for an MMO. And I know they've taken into consideration why they lost 800,000 subscribers in one quarter, but they know it's because it's the end of an expansion. And I expect with this one we will see a big rise as well.
And it also, they continuously say that the biggest fluctuation of their subscribers are Asian subscribers, the East.
Yeah.
The Western Europe and Western Hemisphere, like North South America and stuff, those subscription numbers, they consistently say they stay more consistent.
And it's because of the payment method over there. They have a totally
Exactly.
different way they have to pay for the game over on the eastern regions.
Uh-huh.
And so it's completely understandable if they've beaten all their content and they're just waiting for the new one, of course they're going to unsubscribe.
Yeah. I'd like to see, if it's even possible, if they can get a breakdown of the, what areas and how their sub numbers go up and down.
I'm sure there is somewhere on the internet. It is the internet. We can find anything.
Find anything.
Anything we want. But yeah, it is interesting. But I don't really see it as the end of WoW, obviously, right now.
Yeah, no.
But speaking of which, if you guys had to put a timeline on it, how many years in the future would you say WoW is going to last?
I think a good way to think of that is how many more expansions do we think they'll do if they're coming about every 2 years? I mean, but even then, they've said they want to increase it to every year.
I remember them saying that last time.
Yeah, they've been saying that, but,
I have to agree with that, to be honest. I think, for some reason, I've got 3 expansions in my head. I've got 3 more. There's a rumour that at BlizzCon they're going to announce the name of the next one.
They've already said they are working on the next one already.
Exactly.
They've actually
that.
said they've got the storyline for the next 2. So
Okay, so that's like another, 4 to 6 years right there.
But I
And
did
then
see
one more?
someone. I saw someone on YouTube. They crunched some numbers, and they said if the small gain and big loss keeps happening in the way it does with subscribers, the game won't be able to support itself within 5 years. So
Interesting.
Blizzard does have to change something about how they keep rapidly losing subscribers and then don't gain as many back when they bring back an expansion. So that's interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But moving on, let's talk about some of the new stuff that was brought in, like Spires of Arak. Not Iraq, but Arak.
However you pronounce it, it's going to be wrong.
This new zone is the last one to be revealed, meaning, well, we can see every zone now. I'll bring this up here on screen. We got this little map here. It definitely looks like an interesting zone. It's very, spire-y. Making me think that I would want to flying mount in this area.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of little pathways where you can't get around mobs, I'm thinking.
Yep. Yeah, because as you can see from the map, you're winding roads through pillars, and as I've seen on the beta and other images, it looks like there's, buildings and stuff high up on these peaks of the spires. So how would we get to those?
Elevators.
Yes, elevators.
Just major portals for everything.
I mean, it does look... I'm looking at the map that has, like the names of the main little areas and stuff. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a goblin presence here, because if you look on the, southern coast, you have Clutch Pop Gearworks and Venture Cove.
Yeah,
Those both sound like goblin settlements to me.
definitely, yes. I love
So elevators.
I do like how a lot of the coastal zones have, you can see the Withering Mire over here. They all have, the mushroom elements kind of, throwback to Zangarmarsh. And several of the other zones along the coast have this, like Nagrand as well. Has some mushrooms, and I saw a couple of people on the beta going over there, and they're glowing, and they look a lot better than they did back in BC, but it's just cool to see that. Little throwback to Zangarmarsh there.
Sketis is there as well.
But you can see these spires, they're real spiky and dangerous looking. This zone does not look as pretty as when they showed us Nagrand last week. Definitely a stark contrast there.
Not in Kansas anymore.
I don't know.
What I guess it's a good point to ask. What's your favourite zone out of all of them so far?
Now that we've
And
seen
don't say
all
Ashran.
of them. Well, I definitely wasn't going to say Ashran. I would say Nagrand. It was my favorite spot of BC, and it was very peaceful back then compared to the all broken up Outland, and so I'd still say it's probably my favorite, even though, well, maybe Shadow Moon Valley as well. I don't know. I don't know.
All of it.
What about you, Jake?
What about you, Jake?
I'm trying to remember all of them right now. I'm trying to find. Let's see. So I'm trying to find where it just has all of them, so I can just refresh my memory because there's been a lot.
I should have put them all together before I asked this.
I would say, which was the one that has the city in it where...
Was Shatrap?
Yeah.
Talador.
Talador?
Talador.
I think that one mainly because how they talked about there's going to be the battle in Shatrath between was it Gramash and was it Ogrim Doomhammer?
Yep.
It was, yeah.
Ogrim
Yeah,
and Gramash.
I'd say that zone for that reason. I want to see them fighting. I want to get in there.
And so the Nagrand zone preview came out last week, but we didn't have a show last week, so we'll show that to you as well. You know, if I had a side to side, I would compare it to the old Nagrand, but it's very similar. Everything is like a lot of places where they were, like the Ring of Trials. We got the Throne of the Elements up here. But there's a lot more ogre-centric stuff going on here than there was before. There's a lot of camps all over the place, and then not to mention this big old raid over here, High Mall Palace. This is the second raid that we will be going into when we are raiding. But I don't know, Nagrand hasn't changed that much, so it's kind of hard to think of it as a new zone, really. I mean, it's been retextured, redetailed, but essentially it's still the same without all the floating rocks everywhere.
Effectively, which is, in a way, it kind of not disconcerts me. You can't obviously have a zone that you've got the same name and you totally change it, but it makes me wonder how much I'm going to feel like I should be on autopilot when I hit Nagrand, and that I'll just go to where I should go in BC, and I'll just go, oh, hang on a second, this isn't the right place for me to be leveling right now.
Yeah,
totally in the wrong place.
Well, you won't be flying around like you did in BC, so there's a change.
Oh no, I always stuck to my ground mounts because I was a good little explorer. Never flew.
Alright, well, moving on from the zone previews is something that I'm pretty sure everybody knew was going to happen. The Alliance Chopper is making its way into the game. And what I'm happy about is it's not going to be a cash shop item, but it is going to be a vendor item. And it is going to be very expensive. Most likely, they said, comparison to the Traveling Tundra Mammoth. So it's going to hit your gold wallet pretty well, if you want it.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, since it's a vendor mount, does that mean you can use it on both factions, or is it going to be Alliance?
It is still Alliance only. It is an Alliance-only mount. And I believe the Horde bike is going to be the same way if you did not log in between now and the September 30th was the date.
So
now and then,
you get it for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can buy it at a vendor. But look at this mount. You know, I love seeing the Horde one, but it really looks like a good mount here with the in-game view of it. I'm impressed.
It looks better than the actual bike did.
The actual bike, in my opinion, was a bit too shiny. This one, definitely fixed that up a bit.
Yeah, because it looks like iron, which is what they would have been using, not chrome. I don't think they have chrome.
And with WoW's graphics, how would they? That would just look weird. This chrome mount going through Stormwind.
Just turn up your HDR bloom like insane on it.
Yeah.
I want to go to Draenor and fight the Chrome Horde now.
They're all listening.
Sponsored by Google. The Google Chrome Horde.
Just be so shiny, so ridiculously shiny. Be like
all of their attacks have some sort of like accuracy debuff because you're just getting blinded.
You get the Star Trek screen glare just going all over the place.
Yes,
that would be awesome. But again, I really don't think anyone was surprised by this. We all kind of knew they were going to implement that bike into the game because it really wouldn't have been fair for us Hordes to only be getting it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah.
And,
You play
Hordes.
Alliance. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the better bike, Liz. It's the better bike.
Well, be ready to shell out 100k gold. 'Cause that's most likely what it's going to cost.
They give you almost 2 expansions dedicated to the Horde, and now they give you a bike. Blizzard hates the Alliance. It absolutely hates it.
what if they changed it
Despises
so
it.
it was actually like a bicycle with little streamers?
Training wheels as well. That'd be
Yes.
amazing.
Here you go, guys.
And
Here's
your character
consolation
immediately
prize.
starts holding a lollipop while he's riding it around.
And you can get a little one of those wagons next to it, and you can have Anduin in there just spouting all the nonsense he usually spouts.
Just chilling.
Well, this is quite the speculation we're getting into about the Alliance bike now.
BlizzCon announcement.
Yes.
Next up, bicycles.
But moving...
Saying that, oh, go on, sorry.
Well, okay, you had something to say before we move on.
I was just going to say the rumor is it's going to cost something around the 15k
15?
gold. 15k. Something going to be. It's going to be similar to the. What's the mammoth mount? With
Traveler's Tundra Mammoth.
yeah, it's going to. I think that's about 15 to 18, or is that?
No,
No,
that's
that's
25.
25.
And then there's
sorry.
the Yak, which is 100, so...
I think yeah.
I hope
There's
it's
a
not
rumor it's
yak
going to be about
price.
18, something like 15 to 18.
Because
So
they're gonna make it even more. Like it's 500,000 gold,
Well, I hope our garrisons really shell out a lot of gold then.
right?
unless you're Alliance, in which case you don't get any.
Because you don't. Because the Alliance are nicer and they don't collect taxes from their people.
You know, as far as Blizzard favoring the Horde, I don't think that is actually the case in this expansion because everything the Alliance is getting so far is very good looking, and the Horde is still in mud huts.
Yeah, right. Can we
Oh,
upgrade
Yeah,
at some point?
we start off at this desolate Frostfire Ridge while you guys get the lovely Shadowmoon Valley. Our garrisons are just a collection of mud huts while you guys have castles. Come on.
You wait until they claim the insurance on Ogrimmar, then everyone's going to be gold shoppers after that.
Yes, once that insurance claim goes through.
That was actually the original plot for War Crimes. It was going to be the lawsuit.
Well,
That'd be amazing.
I'm sure Vol'jin is working very hard at getting that
collect.
collecting that insurance money. So.
Yes. And they're questioning him. Are you sure you weren't actually working with Garrosh just to get this money?
No.
We call our first witness, Anduin. Oh god.
But
It's all going to go wrong.
moving on, announced this week something that took actually people by surprise, by major surprise. Well, as we all know, this year marks 10 years of World of Warcraft.
Yes.
We did a segment on that last week or last show or 2 shows ago. We had our big remember back of 10 years of WoW. So Blizzard announced these big celebrations for their 10-year anniversary, and I don't know, Jake or Tom, why don't you talk us through those?
All
Go
right.
on, Jake.
Cool. Yeah. So, their Terran Mill versus South Shore, the rematch is the first thing up. So they're making a new battleground that is styled after the good old Terran Mill South Shore craziness that used to happen. And what's the numbers for the size of the teams in there again?
From what I heard, it is going to be 100 versus 100.
That's so insane. And it's going to be with all the updated models, so everyone's computer is just going to burst into flames.
Well, if you think about how big that area was, I don't think everyone's going to consolidate in one area.
But they'll try to. But no, so that's cool that like they're bringing in a whole battleground just for that.
And
Everyone,
it's the first deathmatch battleground, and finally the Horde will have
Yeah.
something that they will dominate at, because that's all Horde likes to do in random battlegrounds, is kill
Yeah.
everyone.
exactly. Like we don't want to follow objectives, just kill things.
I have to say, doing the PvP section of the Legendary Quest is awful as Alliance. Awful.
I had
So
a hard
painful.
time as Horde.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, the first one I did, first match done, the one in the mines was easy. And then the second one I kept doing over and over and over, and we could not win. And I finally got my guild, and we just had all of us queued together, so we were actually working together, and it was easy then. I was just like, guys, I need help, and they're like, okay, cool, let's do this.
You're probably the guys I played then, because it was like a SWAT team coming after you. It was so well timed and precise. They knew exactly everything, exactly where we were. It was horrible, absolutely horrible.
But looking at this map here of Tarnmill versus South Shore, it really is that entire zone. We've got the Hills Red Fields, we've got the mine, we've got South Shore and Tarnmill, and Durnhold Keep is even in there. So I think this is going to be the biggest battleground to date that we've seen, bigger than Alterac Valley.
And it's only temporary.
Yeah. But I think this is good. I think Blizzard's kind of testing out their ability to throw in more events. Like we could see Halloween-based, battlegrounds or dungeons.
Yes.
Like, I would love to see Blizzard start implementing stuff like this more often.
I think what they should do once they have this, if it's successful, if people like it, just bring it back every year on the anniversary.
Yeah.
Just bring back Tarnmill like every year. But yeah, so next up, everyone gets the Molten Corgi.
Yay, look at this thing. It's so adorable.
It means I have to go buy the Cinder Kitten now. I forgot, if I have one, I have to have both.
If only you could have two pets out at the same time.
I would be so happy. Or if they could make two people's pets interact with each other, so if one person had the Corgi out, one person had the Cinder Kitten, and they were near each other, they'd start playing. I would just die. I would just sit there. That's all I would do for hours.
But let's talk about the biggest feature of the anniversary. How do we get that Molten Corgi?
Yes. The Molten Core is getting boosted. A special LFR 40-player raid.
And I am so mixed about how this is going to work out because...
Just go in knowing it's going to be a horrible mess and enjoy the train wreck.
I mean, 40 people in LFR. 25 people have a hard enough time working together.
I'm going to be
staying
laughing so
in the raid without one person leaving and then everyone having to wait.
What you have to do is you just have to get your guild and put 40 people together, or at least 20, and then get another guild to get 20 of their people and just queue together.
Well, my hope is that this comes out after at least the 6.0 patch, so at least the LFR will be flexible.
Yeah, so you don't have to wait for the correct setup of 40 people.
But I am excited about this. I don't think it's going to be too difficult because, again, 40 random people trying to get to the room with all the core hounds, that would just be a disaster.
Yes.
If you guys remember that room at all when they all just... it's crazy.
Yeah, okay, so the updated Molten Core is how you get the Core Hound mount.
Yes.
The Molten Corgi is just for everyone that logs in.
Yes, but so by killing Ragnaros again, you get this mount, which is awesome. We talked about that a few episodes ago. We were speculating on if it's going to be a cash shop item or what, but now we know.
A lot of people were thinking it was going to be the updated Upper Blackrock.
Upper Ubers.
Yeah, because there's the Core Hound boss in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that Lower Blackrock Spire? That is Lower Blackrock Spire.
Okay. Yeah. So,
With
the upper part of Lower.
People were still speculating that's where we'd get it because of the connection there, but nope, here it is right there. And I do like that they added in little parentheses, fireproof leg armor not included, because that's the very first thing I thought of when they announced it. I was like, that would really hurt to sit on.
What? Do you know how they're changing the narrative of Multicore, if they are changing it, or is it going to be literally doing it back in vanilla?
From what I understand, it really is just boosted bosses, and it's going to be how it was, which is awesome. It's just celebrating 10 years, and I'd like to see them implement, next year have Nefaria, Blackwing Lair. Or Naxxramas again.
Again, they're showing that they have the ability to do this and to put it in LFR.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that they can't be like, hey, every now and then, let's bring back this old raid for a little while in LFR. Let's bring this one back. Let's do this one. They can do it with any of them.
And the idea of doing old content through LFR has been something that people have been wanting for a long time. And,
yes.
They had talked about just, having an option to release it all, do it all at once, but they figured the queue times would be horrible. No one would want to do that. So doing it this way, every once in a while, special event, do this raid. I think that's great.
Yes.
It's a great way to implement that.
And get something cool from it, this mount. Mm-hmm. Get a cool mount, get whatever. Transmog gear. I mean...
There's people who are saying this is lackluster. And when have we ever seen something like this for an anniversary event? We haven't.
Yeah, it's usually here's your percentage XP boost and
some fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
We're so
This
happy
is
to be
awesome.
another year older, but no, they're really, really excited to be 10 years old, and I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because I didn't raid or anything back then, so this will kind of be my first chance to see it.
You finally get to experience vanilla raids.
I was playing back then, but just
Tom, did
Two-
you raid Molten Core back in the day?
I did.
Oh,
I
so
did.
you're
and
excited about this, I assume? Or you're not excited about it because you have bad
Well,
memories?
I can understand both sides of the discussion. I can understand why some people feel that this is a little bit lackluster because when you have to have a very cynical view of Blizzard at the moment to have that view, I'd say. You have to be the sort of person who's going, cool, I wonder how Blizzard's going to keep me playing for another month while I wait for Warlords. And yeah, I guess if you look at it through those sort of tinted glasses, you can see this as a sort of attempt to keep people playing, but it's not. It's, like you say, they could have just slapped an XP boost, say, play your alts, get the Legendary Cloak, and that'd be that. The fact we're getting to see this content, again, and bear in mind, they have been releasing on the Blizzard website guides for soloing these vanilla raids, because you can obviously do that at level 90. I'm intrigued about what we just said earlier. I would like to see them do this with a couple of more instances, more raids, and I guess really just to throw it out there, what raid would you want to see this happen to next?
I'd like to see him go in order, honestly.
That'd be cool.
Or
Well, what about one from every expansion?
Right, yeah, like the next one, just do like Karazhan, I think, is one that a lot of people would love to go back in and do. Just an LFR 10-man Karazhan.
Oh, that sounds fun, but that could, NFR 10 man sounds a bit risky as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Jake?
as far as like bringing other things into it, and
Yeah, what would you want to see?
I just want to see them slowly. I mean, like I said, they're showing they have the technology to do it. Do everything, just here and there, bring something back. Do bigger groups, do smaller groups. Just, I'd have a lot of fun. I would do any older content they want to bring back in an LFR format.
Yep. All right, moving on from that, we just had a little bit of a discussion piece here. Warlords is very, very much on the horizon here. We can kind of see Draenor peeking over our horizon there. So it's a good time to talk about whether we think Mists of Pandaria was a good expansion for WoW, or did it kind of drop? Was it bad for the expansion a little bit? Bad for WoW. We'll start with you, Tom.
I don't think it will go down as history as the best one. I think because people by now have either decided what their best one is. Even if we had 10 more expansions, I think some people like myself would still think BC was the best thing ever, and that we should just go back to BC servers. But I think certainly the things it got right, the story. I loved the whole setup for the story. I loved the sort of core narrative behind it about sort of getting to it was about getting to the heart of the Horde and the Alliance and really understanding why they do the things they do. It was an interesting way to take the, good guys versus bad guys, or you know what I mean, and just to sort of investigate that a bit further and then sort of play around with the darker aspects. But saying that, obviously, there are some things that I think could have been handled a little bit better, and particularly, I think my pet annoyance is with the Timeless Isle, and that's only because I would have liked a little bit more structure to it, a little bit more narrative, rather than here's a load of NPCs that you can literally gang up in seconds and kill, and you'll just get loot that boosts you to siege. I mean, I can see the point of it because siege have been going on for so long, but I think you could have done something a little bit better. I think you could have added story. You had some of the most prominent NPCs on the island, and there wasn't anything else happening really with them. They were just standing around talking about how cool the sunset was, and I thought that's not really what I expect Rathian to be talking about, to be honest. Or Anduin could be doing something a little bit different. And I mean, it's a small annoyance, but if there was one thing I could change, it would be a bit more of a narrative on time as well. To be honest.
Okay, what about you, Jake?
For me, Mists was great. It's always, I think, going to have... It might go down as my favorite, just because this is when WoW... Like, I finally really let WoW get its talons into me and keep me playing longer than I have in any other expansion, finally hit max level, found the awesome guild I'm in. This is when all that has finally happened, even though I have been playing since beta, off and on. This is when I sort of found my stride with WoW, and been playing a ton, hit max with multiple characters, got more involved with the community outside of the game itself, such as doing this. This is when it's all happened for me. Everything has happened in Mists, and so I loved it. The story was great. I can see definitely where Tom's coming from with the Timeless Isle. Good functionality, good purpose, but it would have been cool if they would have had something like the landfall dailies, where as you did time lists like every few days, there was a little bit of story to go with it. Even if it wasn't much of a story, it didn't have an impact on, the greater story, but just a little something. Just a little bit more, rather than just being plopped down and doing the same thing. But otherwise, I loved Mists. We got the updated talent system, which I like a lot more than the old talent trees personally, because it allows you to play around a little bit more. It actually changes functionality. It's not just percentage increases. We got the monk. We got the pandas, which I think are great. A lot of people had issues with them, but I think they're awesome. Yeah, overall, I really have had a blast, and I look forward to continuing to keep playing for a long time.
Myself, I think Mists brought a lot of good system changes that WoW needed from the past. It changed rating a bit, and it introduced flex rating. There were scenarios were a good change. The talent tree, as you said, a lot of good class balancing here. The classes have been pretty well balanced throughout the expansion, I'd say. But as far as content goes, it definitely wasn't my favorite stuff. It just felt kind of lackluster in my opinion compared to previous WoW lore. We've had all these big epic bosses and these epic storylines and places we were going, and then we kind of went to Pandaland, and it was just a different feel. It didn't feel like Warcraft to me. I still had a good time, but it just wasn't that epicness that WoW has brought in the past. And another reason why I'm very excited for Draenor, to get that feeling back. And with the lack of 5-man content, that was also disappointing to me.
Exactly. It got so repetitive.
Yeah. Well, I think
with those 5-mans.
I think we're losing Tom here.
Oh, where am I going?
Oh, you're back. Hi, Tom.
I'm back. Oh, I'll ignore that. I was going to say, there was certainly a lot of repetitiveness to the 5-mans. I just felt when you're going through with several alts as well, it was a bit like Kata in some respects. You just the same 4 instances
really
relentlessly. Easy. Yeah, really easy. You don't. It's mindless. That's the thing I didn't like about them. They were mindless.
Yeah.
No mechanics you had to really worry about.
Yeah.
What about the raids though? Or I'll say raids, and then I guess we could talk about the zones. I guess.
Raiding, I thought raiding was really good. The bosses were, for the most part, really well balanced and really challenging. I enjoyed most of the raid zones, but for the past couple expansions, I've been wanting to see more opened up raiding instead of the linear path they've been following with their raids these last couple expansions. Like, I've wanted another Ulduar for a very long time. But from what I've seen of Highmaul, I think they're taking that direction there. So, but yeah, the rating was a bit linear. No optional bosses and stuff like that. But still, the content was great. It was well balanced. I enjoyed pretty much every boss fight. So,
what about you, Jay? Well, I guess, what did you think about the zones in terms of variety and just the leveling experience going in there?
Through Pandaria, I enjoyed the zones. Um, did level through them kind of fast, even in the beginning. Like I didn't always, I'd out-level the storylines. But that tends to happen a lot. That's something I've kind of gotten used to, especially as they keep updating it. But it definitely had a different feel than WoW has had, which, as Tarley said, is part of. He didn't feel that same epicness, and that's true. It had a very different feel from the rest of it, but I enjoyed the zones. I enjoyed the little bit of a change of pace, and I mean, they were different. Jade Forest had a lot going on with different things happening, and then you get, what was right after Jade Forest? Was it?
You could go down to Krasering Wilds or up to the farm place.
Yeah. Is that the Valley?
Valley of the Four Winds, yes.
Valley of the Four Winds, yes. Yeah, and then going there suddenly was a huge change of pace from the Jade Forest.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it just kind of slowed down. You were just kind of helping the pandas do their thing.
I mean, yeah, I do have to say that leveling through Pandaria was my favorite expansion to level through, from, old expansion cap to the new cap. That it was my favorite quest line. I loved that. There were so many new quests, like the sniper one in the Jade Forest. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Yes. You got some interesting companions along the way.
Mm-hmm.
That would kind of follow you around. The freaking the Hosen. I loved the Hosen. I thought they were hilarious. The way they talked in their slang, Dukin.
Duke you in the Duker.
I loved it personally. It was hilarious.
Yeah. What about you, Tom?
Unfortunately, I never got to play with the Hosen. We got the Jinyu instead, and they were pretty boring, to be honest.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Alliance.
They were pretty useless in that battle in the Jade Forest Stadium. But one thing that sort of struck me about the expansion, I guess, in regards to leveling, was, I mean, obviously after things got a little bit nerfed, it happened rather quickly. I think you can do it now in pretty much 2 zones. But there were some zones that I just, like every expansion, I never went to. Is it Skolzar or Skolazar Basin in Northrend?
Sholzar, yeah.
Sholzar, sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong. Never ever been there, ever. I'm trying to remember zone names. Basically anything west, in the west 2 zones in Pandaria, pretty much never been there, ever. And I feel like for an expansion that was 5 levels, there was
a lot of content.
A lot of content. Basically, not to say too much, because obviously you have the option to go and visit different areas, but there was a lot there. Yeah. A real lot of content.
I think they had a lot less in Cataclysm, going from 80 to 85, and then a whole continent like they did with Pandaria for 5 levels. I agree with you. There was just a lot to do, and you kind of got to max level before you did everything.
Exactly, and that's a pet hate really that I guess I'm failing to say well, is that you kind of felt like there was so much more to see, but you didn't have time to see it because by then you were supposed to be in LFR trying to get all your gear sorted, and you were like, oh, never mind. So, yeah, but I guess I have to ask though, was it worth it just to go rescue Anduin? Was it really worth it? Because all the stuff, like we talked about last week, the stuff we've messed up, just because this poor little kid couldn't stay in the bar.
No, it wasn't worth it.
Certainly wasn't worth it. But no, I think a great expansion, but we're ready to move on.
Yep, definitely. And after, like we've said before, spending a certain amount of time and with no content, yeah, we're definitely ready. But some smaller topics here to talk about. They have been turning on and off Heart of the Valorous and Gaze of the Black Prince. And with, Heart of the Valorous coming back again this weekend, what's the benefit, really, of turning it on and off repeatedly? Why not just leave it on?
Yeah. Them on until 6.0. Just let people have those buffs, get as many legendary cloaks as they want, and just leave it at that, rather than turning them on and off.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be using them over and over again, why not just leave them on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really am not, unless there's like some big, switch that's really heavy for them to, oh, we gotta turn on Heart of the Valors, oh, come on! Like, is that what's happening? It takes like 10 people of their team to go and make sure it gets turned on, so they don't want to just leave it on because it'll flip itself back up after a certain amount of time. Like, they can't help it. I think that's what's going on.
I wonder what they think we do when we see this announcement. I have to be honest, this only appeared on my radar because I was on WoW Insider, and it said Heart of the Valorous returns this weekend, and I thought, really? And then, lo and behold, the buff appeared on Friday. But I wondered, are Blizzard expecting us to go, just jump for joy? Just
Right.
to think, I can 100% Valor increase. Oh, thank you, Blizz, I really needed that.
Where's our level cap increase, Blizz?
Yeah, it's kind of like,
Valor.
it's so nonchalance now. So, not to say we expect it, but
Well, we
it's
do.
not-
We're kind of
Well,
at
I
a
guess-
point now. It's all right. This week is this one. Next week is the next one.
just seems a bit, I guess, lackluster now. But
Just leave it on, Blizzard. Leave it on.
they'll do it literally the week before Warlords goes live.
When the legendary cloak will not matter anymore.
Exactly. But we're going to talk about this next, guys. What would you consider as an alternative to how Blizzard has handled Valor? Because over all the WoW podcasts and in the forums and on Twitter and all social media, a lot of people are offering their opinions. Like, a lot of people, like you say, just want to keep these buffs on Gaze and Heart of the Valorous. Is there? I mean, what would you guys do to just sort of handle the situation a bit better? I would say better, but
Well,
you don't work at Blizzard.
in this situation, with at a big gap between content, I would definitely have increased the cap. Allow people to get that faster, so they can, upgrade all their gear and get the thing for the legendary cloak. Going forward, though, I'm just hoping Blizzard doesn't do another gap like this of no content. I think that's really the issue here, because when you're steadily raiding and you steadily have content, this whole Valor isn't really an issue. And I think they probably will change how they do the legendary quest in Warlords, at least a little bit. Maybe not have this Valor requirement or something different too.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
They don't like Valor though, do they? Blizzard have said they don't.
They don't like
want
their
it
point
in the
system
game.
anymore. Like, justice points are just no more.
Yeah.
From my understanding, anyway.
What about you, Jake?
I don't really have a solution for what they should do. I mean, besides at this point just increasing the cap and leaving the buffs on, as far as going through the content and how it should be handled, I don't know. I don't have a solution.
Which is why we
Well,
don't work at Blizzard.
Exactly.
I think I might have a solution. So let me know what you think of this. What if Valor? I imagine this can be done. I think the structure's in place to allow this. Imagine if you had a group Valor pot for all your characters. And say that pot was a max level of 3,000. And as usual, you can only get 1,000 per character. But you could feasibly get 3,000 in a week by doing the full Valor cap with 3
But
characters.
any one of
or
your
more
characters can spend that 3,000?
Yes. Any one of your characters can spend that 3,000. So the reason I say that is because you're splitting it among 3 characters, the work and the benefit, it's not really it's not really taking too much away from the game. You're not really going to become too overpowered, because the people who will get 3,000 Valor and spend it all on themselves are the people who have put in 3 alts worth of work. So surely they need a little pat on the back.
Yeah.
And it takes out all the worries. You don't have to increase the Valor cap for each character, so that everyone's getting 3,000 Valor on every toon every week, and you don't have to worry too much about these buffs having to be permanent, because they get more of a purpose. Because when they do become live, they add, because you're spreading that workload over 3 characters. You want that buff because it makes it less time for you to work on those 3 characters, or 4 characters, 5 characters, however you want to split it. So I just don't see why they can't group the Valor together. You're still spending it in the same way. Yes, you could spend 3k on one character, and some people might say, well, you know, that means one character can become really overpowered and buff all their gear up in a single week. But at the end of the day, they've got 3 ults. I think they've played the game enough to. I think they've earned it in some respects. If you've got 3 or 4 ults that are all working on the legendary quest collectively, but I don't know.
That's a very interesting point. I actually like that idea a lot, except I don't know if Blizzard would like it for, you know, at least at the beginning of the expansion or the beginning of the quest chain, they have Valor gear. So
True.
you could very quickly then get, like, you know, oh, I've got the trinket 1 week, you know, if you're doing it that way. But, you know, I don't know if Blizzard's even going to continue in moving forward to have Valor gear. You know, there's going to be so many changes with that. I don't know what they're going to do. If they took out that, then what you've said would work perfectly. I think.
I should get a job there.
You should. Everyone hire Tom at Blizzard.
No, the company would go downhill so fast. 3 legendaries for everyone. Everyone gets Frostmourne. That would be your anniversary gift. Frostmourne for everyone.
Yes. All right, but time to move on to our next segment called Lore Lords of Draenor. And this week, Tom has a very special quiz for me and Zul. We will. I wish I had like Jeopardy theme music or something to be playing along with this. Game show. I'm just gonna start playing some game show music. Twitch, if you're gonna block out our sound, do it.
They won't block it out now. They'll block it out after it's uploaded. But yeah, if we make this a more regular thing, then I hope I've got.
Yeah, we can come up with our own music for it.
We'll come up with our own
Don't
music.
want to get our video muted, so I won't play any music.
You first need to prove that we know stuff about World of Warcraft.
So it's not just going to be failure after failure.
All right, Tom, let's get going with this quiz.
Right, I've decided to keep it really simple. 5 questions each.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and I have the guys at Protoss to thank for these questions. So, without further ado, I will go. How do I want to do this? Tarley, do you want to go first, or Zul, do you want to go first?
I don't care either way.
Doesn't matter.
I will let Zul go first because you've got too many legendaries.
Okay.
Now, I have to admit, I thought I was making this more difficult because when I chose the questions, and because I play Alliance, I chose more horde-orientated questions, and now in hindsight, I realise that I might not have helped the situation. So this could be a...
As Zul was saying before, we have to keep our hands in front of our cameras and stare directly into the camera so you know we're not Googling the answer.
I can only see Zul anyway, so it's not really going to help too much. But anyways, let's kick this off. So I don't know what... If we do this again, I might set a prize. But we'll see how we do with this one. So anyway, Zul, first question.
I'm nervous.
What? Drumroll indeed. What is the much coveted Draenei racial heal called?
Racial heal?
Mm-hmm.
It is it the Gift of the Naru?
Yes, well done. 1 point.
Yes!
Eventually we'll get a graphic and I'll get points done. Okay, right, Tarley, this is where it starts to become a bit of an own goal. Where is the Cleft of Shadow located?
Ogrimmar.
Well done. You paused there. I was like...
My first thought was Shadow Moon Valley, and I'm like, that's wrong.
1 and 1.
Right. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've actually got a selection of answers in front of me. So what I will say is I'll give you both 1 lifeline each, because I'm going to change the rules halfway through the quiz, as any good quizmaster does. So for 1 question and 1 question alone, I will give you a selection of answers. So let me know when you want to play that lifeline. Anyway, Zul, when a warlock summons their dreadsteed, which world does it come from?
It comes from the Twisting Nether.
Ooh, close. Zoroth. The Twisting
Zoroth.
Nether was an option, so it was close.
Dang
Right.
it.
1-1, but it's Tarley's go. Tarley, which of the following weapons... Oh, no, because I've got to give you the options here. We'll just go with it. Which of the following weapons is not summoned by Kalthus Sunstrider in the Eye? Devastation, Staff of Disintegration, Infinity Blade, Cosmic Infuser, or Twin Blade of the Phoenix?
Infinity Blade.
Wrong.
No!
It's Twin Blade of the Phoenix.
Oh.
That's one of the drops. I'm doing well here, actually. I should definitely be Quizmaster. Right, Zor, you've got a chance here to sneak ahead.
All right.
What is the name of the Goblin camp in Dustwallow Marsh?
I'm gonna use the lifeline on this one. Give me some options.
Right, you've got Brackenwall Village, Everlook, Theramore, Mudsprocket, and Shady Rest.
It's Terramore.
No cheating.
What was the first one again?
Brackenwall Village, then Everlook, Theramore, Mudsprocket, and or Shady Rest.
I'm gonna go with Brackenmore Village.
Oh, it's Mudsprocket.
Dang it! I was trying to decide between those two, and I made the wrong one.
Right, Tarley. Someone's going to be in the chat room right now giving all the answers away, so...
Why is the
I don't
one
have
that
it
I've
pulled up.
gotten right was an alliance question, and I play Horde?
I don't think you play Troll at all. I think you're an Alliance player at heart. Right, Tarley, what faction gives you a quest involving the almighty Bootarang?
Lifeline, I guess, on that one.
Right, your options are Netherwing, Shattered Sun Offensive, Hydraxian Waterlords, The Consortium, or Steamwheel Cartel.
I'm gonna have to go with the Steam Wheel Cartel.
So close, but not really. It was Netherwing. 1-1. I think
This is
I think
a tough
our
quiz.
No, we're not. We've still got 2 sets of questions each. Okay, I think it's time for another Alliance question, Zul.
All right.
You did well so far. You have a 100% success rating with Alliance questions. So,
Yes.
what is the name of the level 60 kitty that roams the Exodar?
That roams the Exodar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I have absolutely no idea. I don't even know where to guess with this one.
Have a total guess then. Just stab it out there.
Okay, so it's the Exodar, and it's a little kitty that's wandering around, so it's Draenei.
Thunder meow.
I was gonna go with something else Naru related, like Mr. Naru Paws.
Is that it? Is that it, Tom? Mr. Narubaz?
I wish that was. No, actually, it's Niblet.
Oh,
Niblet.
Little Niblet.
Yeah, after the... I think that's a Futurama reference. I'm right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right, Tarley, chance
All
to
right.
sneak ahead
All right.
for the third time.
I got this.
Name the NPC that has the following catchphrase. I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
Bran Bronzebeard?
Is that your final
yeah,
answer?
I don't know.
It's not, unfortunately. It's Millhouse Manastorm.
Man, is this
Right.
like World of Warcraft Trivial Pursuit or something?
Oh no, I've got the WildStar quiz. It's right. Final question, Zul.
It's gonna
Final
be a
question.
tie.
It's going to be a tie. I haven't got a tie-breaking question, so I might have to come up with one on the spot. Right. In Stormwind, what is Lil Timmy's title?
Little Timmy's title. Jeez.
It's an alliance question, so I don't...
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of things that would relate to Little Timmy from the whatever it's Christmas Carol. I'm just trying to think of something that would relate to that.
The
Cause
cripple.
that's what I was thinking, and I was like, that's really bad.
It's not that, I can tell you that.
I have absolutely no idea with this either.
The actual answer is kitten vendor.
Kitten vendor.
He's
the one that
yes.
sells you kittens.
He's the one who sells you kittens. And
All right, here we go. My
one of the
chance to
options
win.
one of the options was gun vendor. So but that only applies in certain states. So never mind. Final question, and I have to admit, this is going to be a doozy. Right, Tarley, which of the following items is also known as the squid stick? Is it Zardoom, Great Staff of the Devourer, Terrestrian Strangle Staff, Staff of Infinite Mysteries, Feral Staff of Lashing, or Atiesh, Great Staff of the Guardian?
I'm going to have to go with the first one you said.
Zardoom, Great
Yes,
Staff of the
Zardoom.
Devourer. It's not, unfortunately. It's Terrestrian Strangle Staff. Which means I'm going to have to go to a tiebreaker, I think.
Because we both have one.
We are so good at this.
Let's get this up. I didn't get one prepared. I should have got one.
At this point, we probably have no viewers on the live stream because they're just like, these people are idiots.
They know
We've
nothing.
never played. We've never played World of Warcraft in our lives.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Right, let's choose one. These guys. Here we go. Let's just go with this. Okay. Right, here we go, guys. I've got one question only. Here it is. First one to shout out the answer wins. 1-1 after 6 questions. 1-all. Because we are truly law lords. Draken and Azeroth and everything else. Here it is for point 2 of the quiz. What is the name? Remember, it's first one to just shout out the answer and get it right. What is the name of the pirate faction that plagues the goblins of the Steamweedle Cartel?
Bloodsail Buccaneers.
Tarley wins it.
Well
done.
I knew it was something Buccaneers, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Azeroth Plunderers though makes a good alternative. That'd be a good one. Alternate name to the podcast. No, well done, Tarley. There's no prize.
No prize.
Shame.
We went through all that and I have no prize. I'm
prize,
leaving.
your
I'm leaving the
prize.
stream. I'm walking away.
Only shame.
All right. We've lost him. We're done.
He's
All
actually
right.
gone.
I'm back.
We have no way of telling if he's gone or not. There's only shame for all of us because we don't know anything clearly about Azeroth.
I know a Draenei racial.
You know a Draenei racial?
Okay.
That is it. That is the pride in our knowledge.
Well, into our last segment of the show, finally.
Swiftly.
The Prince's Gaze. We look at things going around in the community, things that are going to be happening here shortly. And as we've already discussed, we got Blizzard at Gamescom coming up here this week, starting... Gamescom starts on, what, Tuesday? Monday? It goes throughout the whole week, and Blizzard's going to be there the whole time, but their main event is going to be on Thursday at 9:30 Pacific time, and Tom, I have no idea what that is over there on your side of the world, but...
No, I think it's late-ish.
Late-ish.
Hang on.
Late-ish.
I don't know, late-ish.
Exactly.
But
late-ish.
it is going to be live streamed, so make sure you keep checking up on worldofwarcraft.com so you can be there to watch the release date reveal and the cinematic reveal as well.
Yes.
But as we know, also Blizzard is going to be attending PAX Prime 2014, we do not know what Blizzard's going to be talking about there. My guess is they're actually going to be talking more about Heroes of the Storm than they would talk about Warlords of Draenor, since they've been talking about that a lot lately.
I think.
Well, I mean, they'll be hands-on with it, of course.
I don't know. I think it's hands-on with the Warlords. They're talking about Hearthstone and how it's done, and
probably
they've got
talk
heroes
about another
there.
Expansion for it, probably. But yeah, Heroes of the Storm is probably going to be their big one. You know, maybe talk about when release date for at least the beta of that game will be. It's been an alpha
Another
for so
release
long.
date.
Definitely something I'm looking forward to, but we really won't know until PAX comes up. We'll be able to see when that happens on September 1st in Seattle, or August 29th through September 1st in Seattle, Washington. I may have to make my way up there. I love that place. And anyway, we're going to do any shout-outs to anyone in the community. Do you guys have anyone you'd like to mention this week?
I think so. Guys, you go first.
Okay, I was just gonna do a little shout out to my guild over on Cenarian Circle, Horde side, the Wayfarers Coterie. And if you want to see some completely ridiculous and random forum posts, go to the Cenarian Circle, like a forum on World of Warcraft.com, and we have random transitioning between like role-playing posts to complete nonsense, people posting weird poems that they've made up, and at one point there were pages upon pages of the entire guild role-playing as cats. So yeah, that's some fun. That's pretty much what it was.
What about you, Tommy? Got anything?
No, Niblet. No.
Got any shout-outs for us, Tom?
Actually, I'm going to go to the Twitter shout-outs. We have two. I want to give a shout-out to Zomex of Azeroth, who gave us a tweet saying he's loving the show. And also, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, and I really do apologise. It's Poikal Satin? Poikal Satin? I have no idea how to pronounce that. I really apologise. Poikal Satin is what I'm going to have to go with. But thank you for all your sort of tweeting the show and things like that. And I hope you're enjoying it. And I hope you're enjoying it now if you've listened. Or I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope those of you stuck around for the live stream have enjoyed what you saw. But one last community shout out I'd like to bring up. Someone I've stumbled upon on YouTube. He was actually featured at BlizzCon last year for his StarCraft series. But he has also started doing an animated Warcraft series called Warcrafts. It's a cute little animation series, and I'm going to go ahead and play the first episode for you guys. And give him a check out. He's Carbot Animations, and he's definitely a strong animator here. Let's check him out. All right, and that's the end of that one. He's a very talented artist. Again, be sure to check him out at youtube.com/carbotanimations. Very well done. And he's got videos on StarCraft, Warcraft, and a Diablo miniseries as well. But that wraps it up for our show this week, guys. Thank you for joining me once again from all across the globe. Hope everybody has a great week in Azeroth. And if you want to follow us, you can follow us at Geeks of Azeroth on Twitter. Me personally, I'm Tarley_pause. What about you guys?
I am at Zulgeek.
And I am unfortunately still at TC Makura. I'm gonna just get my gamer tag back, and failing that, I might just go with Pink Princess.
Do it.
You can also shoot us an email at geeksofazeroteg@gmail.com. We would really love some viewer questions for the show, so definitely feel free to tweet us or email us for some viewer questions. Otherwise, everyone have a lovely week in Azeroth.